Welcome to the Loveland Report and Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. And we're going to get into what's going on in real estate and mortgage today in Central Florida. We're going to talk about how Silicon Valley's not helping real estate. We're going to talk about holiday sales. It's that time of year. Do home sales slow down? We're going to talk about property management. We're going to talk about leapfrog. And if you own rentals, what to do and what not to do. We'll dig into all that, Bruce. And Bruce, my good friend, what is going on with mortgages this week?
Well, we've seen mortgages have stayed relatively steady for the last week. They popped up a little bit after the Fed cut, but they've remained relatively flat. We haven't had any major news happen. Don't know what's going to happen with this whole Israeli thing. You don't know with if that could upset the economy. Now, sometimes things like that can actually make the market better because they'll tank the stock market, but they'll do well for the bond market. Sometimes catastrophes can be good for interest rates. You never can tell. But you know what? The way I look at it, interest rates are still very attractive. You can get rates in the 5s and 6s, 7s if for your investment property or you have low scores. But even on my FHA loans, let's say you only had a 620 credit score on an FHA loan, I'm going to still get you in the low 6s, possibly even the 5s if I can get the
And FHA, you can only have one, right?
You can only have one. That there are certain circumstances. So if you had an FHA loan in Michigan and you kept that house and you were relocated with your own company to Florida, yes, you could have a second FHA. Right. But typically, yes, it's one FHA loan.
And so the rates are better on those than conventional for
the
most part.
VA as well. VA and FHA are better interest rates by a long shot.
Wow, that's funny.
It really is. I mean, typically people don't think that they are, but the market is. And I'm actually looking when I'm looking at a buyer that can qualify conventional, but they only want to put 5% down. If they are getting closing costs paid by a seller, like a builder that's going to pay 6 points, you can't go conventional because they can only pay 3% toward your closing costs. Wow. Yep. So I switch them to FHA. The realtor always goes, why are you switching them to FHA? Right. And I'm like, because I can get them a point better in interest rate and I can get them 6 points in closing costs.
Yeah.
What's your next question?
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
So
that was a very good impression of all the agents out there.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate those agents. They bring me buyers. Some of them do.
Bless your little heart, realtors.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some, it's funny because I got an article here out of Fox News talking about this is Inman, the real estate news organization. Outmatched agents, 1 in 5 right now thinks they're going to get out of the business in the next 6 months. I mean, actually that's a good thing. Leave it to the professionals, the people that sell a couple homes a month, which is actually like 1 out of 10. Average realtor sells 4 or 5 homes a year around the country. Are you really going to trust your biggest transaction to somebody who is not making a living doing this? And they've really got their next paycheck more on their mind than what's your best real estate plan. This is how I approach my business, Bruce. What is your real estate plan? What's your dream home next? What's the purpose of the move? How are we going to do that? What's the purpose of the investment property? What's it supposed to pay for? What do you want to make on it? All these things I look at when I'm sitting down with people to go over that with them. So,
well, I think these are things that are important, and that's why people hire you, Cleve. I mean, when you hire Cleve, you get a professional real estate opinion. You get somebody that's got the experience. You got somebody that's full-time in the industry. You have somebody that cares about their client and saving you money. That's why people hire you, Cleve. And I don't know if you knew that or not. Did you know that?
I've kind of figured that out. Yeah, it kind of worked that way. It's paid off over 30 years. So I want to make sure, Bruce, everybody knows out there. It's funny because I notice since I've been on the radio so long, I see what people spend their advertising dollars on, and I pay attention to it, even on like TV or other radio stations. I listen to who's advertising. I watch commercials on social media. I see what's out there. And I think the main thing is people need to know, because you yourself don't do big commercial advertising. You're not on.
No,
you're not on
cross country does no.
You're not on the side of a billboards anywhere. You're not on a stadium anywhere. You don't have cars, little Volkswagen Bugs driving around with your face on them.
We don't have stock cars. We don't have NASCARs.
Exactly. No boat teams. No boat racing teams.
None.
All right.
Zero.
And
I'm kind of surprised because the owner of our company, he's quite a whippersnapper, and Yeah, he likes fast cars, but you know what? He relies on good service, great rates, and making sure that his teams are really out there helping the community. That's what we're about.
What I wanted to also mention too is the products. You know, I ran into a lender that was in the business, like they were doing loans for my mom. And I remember they worked for a local bank, and I remember, and he was the nicest guy in the world, but he never got my loans back then. I didn't know you, but he never got my loans back then because people would go out to go get their regular 30-year fix, and it was a percentage point higher than everybody else, all the other mortgage brokers and bankers out there. And it's just like your products are what's out there. I mean, you've got something for everybody.
We really do. I mean, we've got everything from your first-time home buyer products. I mean, we even have our own down payment assistance programs within our own company. We've got construction-to-perm loans that beat any competition that I know anywhere. If you're a builder, you should be calling me. If you're looking to build on your own lot, call me. Renovation loans. We've got conventional and FHA renovation loans. There's all kinds of opportunities for you. Reverse mortgages, home equity lines of credit. You've got FHA, VA, USDA, 100% financing. You know, a lot of people skip over that. That's zero down payment, great interest rates, very low mortgage insurance, and a seller can pay up to 6%. What more could you ask for? Now, you got to have at least a 645 credit score. Yep. Okay, come on.
Pay your bills. You'll have pay your bills on time.
You have to have decent credit, and you have to have a debt ratio under 43%, and you can't make more than $102,000. Okay, that was just raised by USDA. Now, the house that you purchase has to be located in an approved geographical area by USDA. But if you go to WeBringYouHome.com and go to loan products, select USDA, it'll take you right to the website. You can punch in your address and it'll tell you whether you're qualified, whether the house is qualified. Yep. Then you can go to my website and do the income calculation, and it'll tell you if you make too much money for it. It's simple. Or if you just want us to do it for you, we'll do that too. 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144 or WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve, what's your number?
407-352-8118. Got agents standing by this weekend. I'll be working all weekend presenting offers and helping people get their real estate plan in order, or you can go to cleveloveland.com.
Yep. So listen, we talked earlier about pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Okay. So what do you think a pre-qualification really is by a lender?
Pre-qual is they've kind of looked at it and they might have listened to what you said and they say, it sounds like you can get a mortgage. They just put that on, they write that out on a piece of paper.
It's a credit report and a conversation, no validation whatsoever. So would you accept an offer from somebody that submitted a pre-qualification letter to you?
No. We might negotiate on price and fix these terms. Say, this is what we're going to give you when you get me that fast track approval or when you get me a pre-approval.
Right. So pre-approval means that the lender, which means the loan officer, has looked at your tax returns, your bank statements, your pay stubs, all that stuff, and then written a pre-approval letter for you. How many loan officers approve loans, ultimately approve loans?
They don't. The underwriters do. Yeah.
None. So you've got somebody that can't approve a loan writing your pre-approval. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, right? So our fast track is a big step above a pre-approval. And that is, we've taken all your documents, we've sent them to an underwriter. The underwriters approved it, whatever conditions may apply. We supply those conditions. So there's nothing remaining other than the house that you purchase has to appraise and it has to have clear title.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Everything else is done. And that's why I can close fast track loans in 10 days.
And we're going to move into a period when these rates settle down, hopefully with a good election. We got less than 3 weeks till that happens. And when that happens, our market's going to take off again. And you're going to be, if you're not a fast track like that, unless you're paying cash, which is rare, you're not going to go to the top of the pile when there's 5 offers on the house you love. No, and that's what we're going to go back into on a lot of places. We've got multiple offers on some homes now, Bruce, and in pocket markets that are very hot, or the one that's really, really just an A++. When a house comes on the market like that, somebody's taking great care of and it looks great. All those things come up, but when they've gotten with you and just know where you stand, you've got, I mean, the bank statement loans, the 1099 loans,
bank
all those
statement
things.
loans are so popular right now for self-employed people that aren't showing any income on their tax returns. Bank statement programs are phenomenal. Last 12 months bank statements, I can do 24 months as well for a little lower rate. And you supply that, I'll add up all your deposits. I'll give you 50% of that as income. So if you're showing on your tax returns that you're making, say, $40,000 a year, but you really make $250,000 a year, right?
Yep.
That's pretty common for a self-employed person to do. So they're not paying taxes on, say, $200,000.
Yep.
So at a 25% tax bracket, that's 50 grand, right?
Yep.
So they would rather save the $50,000 in taxes and pay a little bit higher interest rate on a bank statement program.
Yep.
And we're talking about maybe $2,000 a year, maybe $3,000 a year in additional principal or additional interest on a bank statement program versus a standard mortgage.
Yep.
So you're ahead of the game by $48,000.
Yep.
So what a benefit. Call me about my bank statement program or DSCRs, the debt service coverage ratio.
I got a couple of good listings we're going to go into. There's some,
Let's do it.
Would be some great listing properties. First, I want to talk about how I mentioned top of the show, Silicon Valley in real estate, Bruce.
Yeah.
This is the Zillows and the Zestimates out there and the big companies that have these portals you can go into and search for homes. And that's Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Backed up into these hedge funds, and they go start a company. Everybody pulls $100 million. They get a couple billionaires to go in on this thing. And this is what you've got to watch out for, and make sure you're getting your information from a local, no matter how much information or how big a site might seem to be. And they might be everywhere whenever you're looking at your computer and they're stalking you. And all you see is that one portal up there you're supposed to jump into to search for homes. And they're going to try and if you click on something, they're going to refer you to 6 agents. Your phone's going to blow up. They're selling your data. And you talk about this too with some of the credit companies. They're selling your data. Talk to a professional. Call me. I'll set you up on a real estate plan. We'll talk about what your hopes and dreams are for the next house or for your rental properties. Is it time to sell them? Is it time to buy more of them? You and I haven't talked about our Leapfrog program, but whatever your real estate plan is, depend on one person that you trust. You probably don't have an AI financial planner. You're not just asking, hey, Siri, what should I do with my portfolio this week? So call me at 407-352-8118. We'll work out your real estate plan for you, or email me or go to cleveloveland.com.
Yeah. Or call the loan arranger and get yourself pre-approved so you can make an intelligent offer and go make your offer with confidence and close in as little as 10 days if you would like. Call me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com. So, Cleve, we just got about 2 minutes left here. So let's cover a question here that I got. Why does the mortgage approval process or how does the mortgage approval process differ from someone looking to buy a second home or investment property over a primary residence?
It's all about your debts, right?
Well, yeah, but it really doesn't differ unless you're getting maybe a bank statement loan or a DSCR. The process is the same: credit, income, assets. Those are the 3 criteria that go into qualifying somebody for a mortgage. Your credit tells you how reliable you are. Your income tells you whether you can afford it, and your assets tell us how much you have to put down. Those are the 3 things that go into a mortgage, and that's what you're going to need, unless you're a bank statement. And then I'm going to get your income from your bank statements rather than your tax returns.
All right. What's important though is they call you, Bruce.
407-250-9144. or WeBringYouHome.com, or Cleve Loveland at 407-352-8118. We got about 30 seconds more.
When we come back, we're going to dive into a couple listings. You worked out some payments to show people that these 6% payments are not that bad. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about holiday sales and property management do's and don'ts.
Yep. So don't go anywhere. We got a lot more to cover on the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. Cleve Loveland, 407-352-8118, or Bruce Woodburn, the Loan Arranger, at 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com. We'll be back in 5.